Hey, how you doing? It's Clayton Tini from the First Home Buyer Club, 100 lessons in 100 days, day 16, lesson 16. And what we're going to talk today about is the preparation of the block and also finding the right block. Now, why I want to talk about finding the right block before preparing the block, because obviously they're two separate things, is the fact that not all land is the same, right? So, you might look at a block and on face value, it seems flat or there's no issues. But when you do check the disclosure plans and do research on the block, you'll find that, you might have bad soil type, or, the developers had to put in, a lot of fill at the front of the house or the back of the house in order to keep it flat, which all these extra costs are going to start to rise up. Now, it's not an issue. It's not going to, cost you an arm and a leg. You just need to be aware of it, right? Because with fill, you're going to require extra piers in the house at certain points to hold the support. Gradients of the block and the slope of the block are another good one. The block type and shape. So that sort of comes in hand with setbacks, how far you can build the house from the front of the block, how far from the sides and how far from the rear. The other thing you need to be aware of with setbacks is that if you're on a corner block, there's going to be a side setback because it's theoretically two street frontages, the one at the front and then the one at the side of the house. There's different rules for that. You need to understand before you go spending money on house designs and putting down deposits that you're investing and purchasing the right thing. Also, does the block have all the services that it should for that block? So you don't normally have this occur with a block inside a new development. However, if you've found an infill block or we've negotiated on your behalf with an infill block, there's certain things that we always do research on to make sure that it works out, like water meters and all the services that are actually coming to the block. Another thing, and again, it's not so pertinent with a brand new development, but neighbourhood disputes. Make sure, and it will be listed in the contract, make sure you're not committing to something where there's a huge argument between the current owner and the next door neighbours. House type and design, we've kind of, spoke about it. Understand how that's going to fit on the block. And if you're trying to do it all yourself, there's a lot of things that you really need to understand when crunching through the numbers and looking through designs and picking it perfect. Other specifics associated with the block, like if there's any bushfire requirements, if there's mine overlays, flood overlay, acoustic requirements, is it close to a train station? Is it close to a main road? These are all the things that you need to do ahead of time if you're not using someone like the First Home Buyer Club in order to do that research on your behalf. One thing I will say, be wary of the big builders that want to try and charge you fees up front before you get started. If you're not quite sure of your financial position or if you can actually secure a home, don't go outlaying $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 so they can do soil tests and do up working drawings and have your house plan sited on the block, because it's going to be the most expensive paperwork you ever buy. Be aware of that. Sometimes everyone thinks we're going to do it all ourselves and it's going to be the best thing ever. It's not always the best thing. Make sure you do your research or use someone that is. In regards to preparing the site for the actual build itself. So this is after you've got the approval. Here's things that you need to know. They're clearing the site is going to take approximately around 2 weeks, and preparing the site will do things like when I say paperwork, your soil tests are going to get done. The survey plans are going to get done. The working drawings are going to get done. Everything specific for that block is going to get completed. And then you're going to lodge to council. When I say lodge to council, though, most builders these days use private certifiers to get it through because it's a lot quicker. But that's all the prep stage and all the paperwork stage. The next part here is the site prep. The site prep involves things like the actual site cut itself, pegging out the perimeter of the actual house, piers and footings that are required in there to make sure that it's stable, plumbing. So we're going to put the plumbing in the ground before we build the concrete, or we're going to be in a little bit of trouble, right? And the last one is installing the steel and the waffle pods ready to pour the slab, which will generally happen within a week or so of that point, sometimes within days, but it depends on the crews that are working and how they line up. Now, generally, this whole process itself will take anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks, and ideally, you want to be trying to get on site as quick as possible. With us, we ensure as soon as we get the unconditional approval that we start on all the paperwork, the soil test, the survey plans, and the working drawings, so that we're ahead of the game. And 9 times out of 10, we're very close to lodging with the private certifier as soon as you settle on the block. So as you can understand, there are a lot of steps involved when you do want to build a home and preparing the block ready for it. So it's not just get it done straight away. Be aware it's going to take time, because you don't want to rush this, but you also want to make sure that you're understanding exactly what's happening throughout the build stage. After the preparation is done, obviously the next part's the slab, and that's the good part, because now you start seeing what's going on the block. So you'll see the concrete poured and all the rest. Now, a waffle pod, just so you understand, the waffle pod is that foamy looking thing that sits in the middle of the concrete, and it doesn't sit over the top. It sits underneath when they pour the concrete to absorb some of their movement as it continues on. All right, guys, have a good day, and I'll speak to you soon. Thank you.